Hi, it's Colette from the Speech Meadow, and I'm here today to talk about choice making. I believe that being able to provide choices and getting children to make choices is an important skill and an important behavior management tool, and it helps develop your language. So I encourage staff and I myself as well to make sure that I'm providing choices throughout the day for the kids that I see. And so why? Well, first off, it gives children agency. So you've seen those kids, or you might have seen those kids that depend on adults to do absolutely everything. So they pick out their clothes, they tell them what to do, they tell them when to stand up, they tell them when to sit down. When they say jump, they'll say how high. And I think it's really important, especially early, to start getting children to be able to make their own choices. I just find that children with language delays and speech delays tend to have less choices throughout the day than their more typically developing peers. And I really do think that it's an important skill for independence for when they're starting later. So the choices, if we start giving them choices to make when they're 3, those more complicated choices will be a little bit easier when they're 16, 17, 18, and when they're all on into adulthood. I also believe that choices can help build your language. So it can do things like build the length of your sentences. You could use it to work on grammar. You can work on it to use functional vocabulary. So I really do feel that choices are a very powerful tool that we have. So how do you incorporate making choices into your day? Well, first, you need to think about choices that are things that you can follow through on. So things like, if you do your homework, we'll go to Disneyland right after. May not, unless you live right beside Disneyland, is probably not a choice that you want to give. You want to give choices that you can follow through. So things like, do you want to wear your blue shoes or your red shoes? Those are the types of choices you have. And also you want to figure out when to give them. So things like giving kids too many choices can also make the kids feel uncertain, because that they really do need that stability and consistency. And if we're throwing choices at them all the time, they may feel like some of that consistency is gone. So you need to pick when are the most opportune times. The other thing is times when kids really struggle, like if there's a routine that they really struggle with, throwing a choice in there might not be appropriate. It may be, but often it may not be that choice. So at home, what are some times you can incorporate choices? Well, getting dressed is a good one. So things like, what shirts do you want to wear? What pants do you want to wear? What underwear do you want to wear? What shoes do you want to wear? Again, it has to be something you can follow through. So I live in Canada, so things like wanting to wear your flip-flops in January is not an appropriate choice, because that is just a safety hazard and it's not appropriate. Things like snack can be a really good time to have choices. So do you want to have an apple? Do you want to have an orange? Do you want to have milk? Do you want to have water? Those types of things. Just be careful with, because sometimes look at who you're with and that. So if sometimes mealtime can be a very stressful time for kids, then if that's a stressful time for kids, then that might not be an appropriate time to give choices. The other thing another time that's really good is, or a choice that you can make at home, is what kind of toys do you want to play with? So instead of giving them all the toys and all the land, which can sometimes be daunting and kids don't know what to play with, and you're like, you've got all these toys, like why can't you pick? Sometimes limiting them and giving them small choices makes it easier for them to figure out what they want to use and what choices they want to give. So things like, do you want to play with Legos, or do you want to play with your dolls, or do you want to play with Mr. Potato Head? And remembering to keep those choices small. You may want to start with 2 choices and then 3 and then maybe 4. But if you give them 10 choices, it's too open-ended and it can be daunting for a child. And then sometimes ordering a routine and letting them pick the order of the steps of a routine can be a really nice way of giving choices. So I'm going to use bedtime, knowing that bedtime sometimes is super stressful. But so if you've got a child who's knows their bedroom routine down cold, and is very comfortable with it, sometimes that's when you can do choices. Like, do you want to get your pajamas on, after you brush your teeth or after you have your snack? So those are some of the choices you can. But again, if it's a routine and it's not a routine that the child feels comfortable in, it's a new routine, those might be the time that I tend to avoid adding complexity by giving them choices. And at school, you'll notice a lot of these are the same. So things like getting dressed. So again, the order. Do you want to put your shoes on now, or do you want to put your coat on now? Like, which one do you want to put on first? I will even sometimes let them pick the order that we do things. So like in therapy, I'll be like, we're going to do these 3 things. Which one do you want to do first? Which one do you want to second? Which one do you want to do last? And so again, I've still got control because we're doing what I've said, but they've also got control and they can figure out what times and when we're going to do something. And again, the same thing as at home. Snacks. So are you going to eat your apple at this snack, or are you going to eat your fish crackers, for example? And so those are some things, do you want to have, if a child needs a break, are you going to walk the halls for your break? Are you going to go to a quiet room? Are you going to get a glass of water? If they're fairly regulated, I'm not, if you've got a child who's already really upset and very frustrated, throwing the extra language of giving them choices at that point might not be appropriate. So you need to kind of pick and choose when to give those choices, and thinking through and really looking at the child's schedule and looking at times where they're most successful, though times when it's appropriate to make a choice, those would be the great times to do it. So I really do think that choice making is a really powerful tool for our kiddos with speech and language delays. And I really encourage you to try and look at your schedule, look at your child's schedule, look at your student's schedule, and see, when will I be able to make a choice? When are appropriate times? So if you have a really great choice activity or a time that was super successful, let me know. Anyways, you have a good day. Bye.